Hello, everyone. To those who've joined us, we are just thank you and welcome to the webinar. And we're just going to wait a couple of minutes for anyone else who might be joining us, and then we will get started. Okay, I think we'll get started. So, welcome again, and thank you everyone for joining us. I'm Ria from the product marketing team at Atomicwork, and joining me today is Rinno Camilito, IT director at AMMEX Corporation. Before I jump in and bring Reno into the conversation, I just want to take a minute to introduce Atomicwork for anyone who's new here, and also just give you a quick look at what automations look like in Atomicwork. So Atomicwork is an AI native IT and service management platform. And at the center of that is Atom, our universal agent, which provides real-time multimodal support to employees and end users in the flow of their work, wherever they are. So this could be the browser, Slack or Teams, or email, right? And it does this by combining context from across the org with real-time automations. So it pulls in signals from the tools that employees are using every day. So this could be their apps, their devices, your network information, reporting lines, other third-party apps, and it connects all of that, and it connects to these backend systems so that it can not only respond but provide end-to-end resolutions. And one of the ways you can do this is through our native workflow builder. And I'm going to quickly just share my screen to just show you what that looks like. So I hope you can see my screen. So this is our native workflow builder. It enables IT, HR, and any other service teams to build out their automations end to end within Atomicwork itself, with actions, with native actions like you can classify content with AI, you can send a request for an approval to someone, anyone across the org. You can execute scripts to, as in complex code to, perform complex actions that involve like nested attributes and other complex objects, as well as other actions that allow you to either respond to your users or collect information with a form, as well as third-party actions. So like in apps such as Microsoft Azure or Google Workspace, Teams, any app that has been connected to the Atomicwork system. So the apart from the native automations you might build within Atomicwork itself, one way that we extend our platform's capabilities is by allowing you to integrate with third-party apps and trigger automations and other systems. And you can do this either through your API calls, which we're going to see in a little bit. Reno is going to run us through that. Or like I mentioned earlier, through the executing complex code action where you can call third-party actions and the third-party native actions that you can see here. So that's, and like I said, so we're going to, and so this essentially is to make Atomicwork the system of operational command. Even though work might be spread across apps and other platforms, you can bring all of it in one place, and all of this ties back to your service management process. So you have all of the context in one place, especially for your service teams. And today, rather than me, I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. Rather than me telling you that we can do all of this, we're going to hear it from Reno, who is from AMMEX Corporation, who's one of our earliest customers. And they've been working to make their IT support and other help desk support for employees more proactive and improve the experience for both employees as well as their service teams itself. But I'm not going to bore you with that. I'm Reno. Welcome to the talk. Thank you for listening to my spiel there. I would like to invite you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about AMMEX and your role at AMMEX, and just give us a brief.
Got it. Hey, Ria. Good morning.
Morning.
Everyone. I'm Reno. I'm one of the IT directors for AMMEX Corporation. So I manage our IT infrastructure, help desk, and ERP teams. And I also lead the implementation of AI roadmap here at AMMEX. So I'm based in Manila, Philippines, while AMMEX is headquartered in Seattle with employees spread across North America, Philippines, Malaysia, Southeast Asia. It's actually 10 p.m. here right now, but don't worry about me. I've been working US hours for about 18 years now, so this is just a regular Thursday for me, Thursday
But
night for me.
do want to thank you for taking the time to do this
Yeah.
with us, especially so late at night. I don't know if I would be, but yes, it's
Hey,
thank you for joining
I
us.
know it's late at night, but it's the start of my day, technically. So,
Good to hear
um,
that. Mine is almost over. Go ahead.
yeah. I've been with AMMEX for over 10 years now. So I actually started as a help desk back then when I had more hair and lower hairline.
Mm.
So when I talk about automation with a lot of excitement, it's because I know firsthand how much manual work can take it out of a help desk person or of anyone.
Mhm. That's great, and we definitely want to hear more of that. So I want to just ask you to tell us a little bit of Amex's journey with Atomic Work so far. What have you been doing, and why has automation become a priority now?
Yep. So our atomic work journey actually started in a pretty unexpected way. I think I might have signed up or clicked on a LinkedIn ad way back in 2 years ago. And I think that led to VJ Shankar reaching out to me via LinkedIn. I think that was October 30. This is in 2023, right? So I joined a quick demo where he showed Atomic Work as an ITSM tool. And also how Atomic Work uses RAG, retrieval augmented generation, to pull information from a knowledge base. At that time, that was like kind of brand new, right? Um, so
Still very
I
much
mean,
in our journey.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, they also showed us how it could automatically complete certain tickets like provisioning third-party licenses. At that time, the demo was about Atlassian, if I'm not
Mhm.
mistaken. And those new things and it being in MS Teams, like that's really the selling point for me when Atomic Work being natively on MS Teams, where everyone spends 90% of their time, that impressed me a lot. So I shared this experience with my boss, our CTO, Chad Goshen, and we both joined for a second, more detailed demo. So at that time, we were kind of focused on how should I say this? We were solving two challenges. First thing was finding a practical way of integrating AI in a
Mhm.
company. This is 2023 when ChatGPT first released. Like everyone's going crazy about incorporating AI
Mhm.
into their business. A lot of it are hype, right? But just everyone being excited. We're one of them. Okay. And at the same time, we're trying to address our large cost of our existing ticketing system back then. So I'm happy that Atomic Work actually addressed both, and that's when our journey really began.
That's really interesting, and I know that when you started out, one of your priorities was actually deflection for end users, right? With the knowledge, like you just mentioned, being able to help them find answers quicker and
Mhm.
without too much of effort. If you can tell us a little bit about that, and then how where you've reached with that, and now why you're now so we want to talk about how you're now automating all of these processes, like different steps of your complex cross-functional processes, right? So why we've reached there.
Yep. So when we first rolled out Atomic Work, I think the journey started around January, if I'm not mistaken, 24, right? The priority was, yeah, you're right, it was deflection. Technically, deflection rate is a built-in metrics in Atomic Work way back then. It's
Mhm.
simply the percentage of conversations where the AI assistant or Atomic Work could answer without involving any agent and without
Mhm.
it creating new tickets, right? So
Right.
basically, you're telling that the Atomic Work provided the service or the answer without any tickets being created in the backend. Um, but this is really like mostly about FAQs
Mhm.
and having good documentation, like things like on our side, like when is the next pay period? Hey, can
Mhm.
I get the Amex letterhead? Right? So a lot of these are early use cases, most of the time HR related. So at that
Mm-hmm.
stage, we actually pushed our departments to consolidate and publish their documentation in a way that Atomic Work could consume. So even Atomic Work for us, it's not just an ITSM, it's more of an ESM because it's being used by other departments as well on our side. Because other departments on AMMEX, they provide service as well internally. So
Right.
if you need like a shipping label or you need a packing list, you go to logistics. So that's being done by Atomic Work. You need a credit memo, you file a ticket to finance. So that's also by Atomic Work. So that's how we really use it. Um, in the beginning, when uh, so we told the team like, hey, create documentations for the things that people normally ping you for,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now, instead of
Right.
just like pinging you, just provide a documentation, and it's been effective for those kind of use cases, right? But one cool thing about Amex is we're a small shop, right? About I think about 160 employees. We have a lot of tenured employees.
Mm-hmm.
And when people have years of stock knowledge in their heads, they don't always need to ask Atom for basic information. They
Mm-hmm.
normally tend to file tickets if they know they really need someone to do an action for them,
Right.
right? So, and at the same time, us being a small shop, 20 in IT, actually, in a small company, everyone wear multiple hats, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, the reality is everyone's life is outside of that ticket resolution. It's also handling maintenance, projects, and all kinds of ad hoc tasks. And sometimes you're in the, let's say, in the middle of a brainstorming session or building something complicated, and then you get pulled away for a service request that, let's say, only you can do. It's so simple to do, but for some reason, you're the only one can do it, right? So suddenly you've
Mm-hmm.
lost your train of thought or your chain of thought. So that's why our focus shifted from just deflection to automation. At the end of the day, the automations that we will do will also adapt to deflection, some of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not only about answering FAQs anymore. It's about, let's say, giving back time and focus to our teams by
Mm-hmm.
eliminating the repetitive manual work, smaller work, right? So now our mindset is when the ticket, let's say, gets created, how do we automate it?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes a ticket, the resolution would be big enough. Ideally, we want to automate it to a point that there's no human touch at all. But even
Mm-hmm.
automating three or half of the steps is already a win, right? So that's where we see the biggest impact in the lean organizations like us. Hmm.
Got it. Yes, and that's a great point that be able to automate without too much of human contact. And I think we had this conversation earlier. That's what the topic is about, right? Light touch automations. And
Yeah.
I just want to like if you have an example of what that actually looks like where you don't you don't want a human to actually come in and spend time on this. Maybe they just need to like
Mm.
quickly know what it is and you just want it to keep moving. And if you can
Yep.
share an example and then maybe you can show us how you're automating that, we can
Yeah.
see it
Okay.
live.
Yeah, I'll go into one of the demo, but a perfect example happened earlier this year, and actually this or I would say from my point of view, this is where all it started, at least for me, pushing core automations, right? So I saw a ticket come in after 6 p.m. PST. So it's very simple. It's just like a shared mailbox access request, right? And how did I know that? Because Atomic Work sent an approval on my Teams on my phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, this was 6 p.m. I was outside of work already, and actually I was in a restaurant, right? I was dining out. So normally, completing this kind of request would take anywhere from 2 to 10 minutes. It's a very
Mm-hmm.
simple request, very simple resolution, but 2 to 10 minutes, it depends on whether you have all of the right systems open already or if you're starting from scratch,
Mm-hmm.
right? But the problem was for you to be able to do this is this kind of task you need to be in your computer, Yeah, you can do it from your phone, but there's going to be a lot of steps, zooming in, zooming out, those kind of things, right? And at that time, unfortunately, our midship help desk was on PTO, so there was really no one to attend to that ticket, right? So that ticket sat until the next day. So now imagine if that service item had been automated way back then, I could have just tapped in approve from MS Teams right on my phone, right there in the restaurant, and that shared mailbox permission would have taken effect 10 to 15 minutes after that. And the only thing that I need to do would be to click approve, right? And the ticket gets resolved. Really no work being done other than me clicking approve. Yeah.
Right. And I love that, that's the example that you're talking about where, you're already away from your desk and you're in the middle of something else and you don't actually want to spend that much time at work, but things come up, right?
Yep.
Great example.
So
Yes, if you can
you want
just
to
love to see how you've
see?
actually done that.
Yep. Yes, set. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
All right. So basically, what I have here are just a recorded demo, right? But after this, is I'm gonna walk you through how it looks like on the back end. So here, give me a sec. All right. So here, I'm showing a demo of how we add mailbox permissions automatically. So I have a test account here called Lex Luthor, right? Superman just came out, right? So that's the example I came up with. So we have a shared mailbox here called sm -ammexchat@amex.com. And when you go to a shared mailbox that you don't have a permission to, that's the error that you will get. And I'm just showing this to you so that at least you know that we're starting from the point that the user doesn't have access to this mailbox, right? So here, we're just showing Atomicwork how to request for that permission. So someone goes in and say, hey, I need access to a shared mailbox. And just give that a sec. Atomicwork is trying to pull out the service account items. And then on our side is going to be that shared user mailbox access request. So just fill in the information, the subject, the description. And then here, this is a special catalog. So we've added a field like what kind of mailbox access request that you want. You want a grant or do you want to remove an access, right? And then just put in the mailbox address that you need access to. And then here in this field is just selecting which user needs access to that mailbox.
Got it.
Right, and then click the create request. Right, so that's just an automated workflow notifying that the ticket has been received. And again, all of these automations at the back end are happening in a couple of seconds. You'll get the user will get a notification that the ticket is being reviewed and subject for approval. There you go. So here, your request has been sent to approval. These are the people that needs to kind of approve it. And here I'm showing you, this is my MS Teams, right? I'm one of the approvers. So on my side, I got an, yeah, your approval is required. All right. So now I approve that the customer gets a notification that the approve has been requested, and then the ticket automatically gets resolved. And then just a custom message saying that, hey, your access to the mailbox has been granted. Just wait for 10 to 15 minutes. So on my side as an agent, as you can see, I didn't even need to log in to the portal. All I needed to do was to click approve. That could be on my mobile phone.
Right.
On the user side, it's very quick. As soon as he files a ticket, just wait for the approval and then gets a notification. So here I'm just gonna actually pause this. It took about 10 to 15 minutes before that took effect, but here, as you can see, as soon as that taken effect, the user has now access to the mailbox.
Right.
So that's it on the front end side. But on the user side, this is how it looks like. So if we go to the workflow, so it's gonna be this one here. Our workflow is very simple, right? As you can see, once the ticket is moved into in progress,
Mm-hmm.
and if the service form is the shared user mailbox, it's gonna send for an approval. And once approval is once it's approved, then you get just gonna read what kind of permission it's asking for. Is it gonna be a grant or remove,
Mm-hmm.
right? But as it's on the grant, it's just gonna create a webhook. And this is really the key to all of these automations. So basically, we build automations on our Azure
Mm-hmm.
tenant, a combination of function app and automation accounts. Basically, this one is just calling that webhook and then send a reply to the user that, hey, your request has been completed, and then automatically resolves the ticket,
Mm-hmm.
right? On the Azure side, this is just how it looks like. This is like we have a function app and we have a bunch of like webhook here that anyone can call, at least
Mm-hmm.
internally. But specific to that, we have here the grant mailbox permission. And basically, this is just a function app that will authenticate to our back end.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, just a bunch of codes. And then once it's authenticated, it will actually call another automation. This is really where the automation takes place. This
Mm-hmm.
one here. Why did we build it that way? I think it's just more secure to don't to just have a two types of automation. In that way, you don't really get exposed.
Right.
Um, and then if I can just find it, this one here, mailbox permission. So a lot of these are just really PowerShell stuff. There you go. It will just call this automation.
Right.
Pretty much
So
that's it. That's how we built it there.
yeah, so from what I understand, you had all of these functions already built out. So being able to bring it all in one place in Atomic Work and tying that back to your service management is sort of the piece where Atomic Work really ties all of this together, right?
Yep. Mm, yep. Mm.
It's really cool. So one thing I do want to, so I want what I want to ask you here is how do you? So I understand the shared mailbox. That use case came up because something you actually experienced. But how do you typically identify which of your processes require sort of this kind of extensive automation building? How are you finding?
Oh wow, that brings back memories. Let me start by explaining how we even decide to what to automate. Early this year, we painstakingly went through every ticket filed. At that time, there was about 2,000 tickets.
Oh
I
my.
know that number looks a lot, but a lot of times it's just really you're scanning the title and the description, and some of them are just similar. And pretty much, if you're very familiar with how your system works, you can already know intuitively which ones require manual work or which ones can be really fully automated. Okay. So after a week of going through that, that gave us a short list of around 25 use cases.
Mhm.
Some of these use cases always happen. Some of these are just, let's say, 5, 10 times a year. But at the end of the day, our goal is to just find out technically which ones can be automated. And
Mhm.
that's where the 25 come in. And right now, I think we've already deployed 7 out of the 25.
Wow,
Okay.
nice. So out of those, which one is there any process that stood out as being, particularly um, like hard to automate? Like it was important and sort of extensive, and you know.
Mhm. Um, if we talk about what's already deployed, the most impactful one has been our offboarding automation,
Mhm.
right? Our offboarding process involves about 33 high-level tasks. Um, a third must be done in the first 15 minutes, right? Another third of that task, maybe 10 of the tasks would be within the day. And the rest, you just need to finish them within a couple of days, right? Recovering the asset, those kind of things. Okay. Um, before the automation, 20 plus of these tasks were entirely manual, and it takes anywhere from 30 minutes to over an hour, depending on the speed of who's doing the offboarding, the number of monitors that you have, and whether you get interrupted or not during this process, right? And then there are two types of offboarding, right? One is planned, where the employees gives notice, less stressful, right? And the unplanned ones, where someone is, let's say, terminated. The unplanned ones are the most stressful ones because IT's notice can range within from 30 minutes to up to 2 days. And
Right.
what's really the problematic there is once the moment HR says that they're done with the offboarding process, IT have to act immediately. You have to cut the access, right? We've failing to do that. I mean, you're trying to accept a lot of risk. We've seen cases where in that short window from the time that the news has been delivered, we've seen employees delete large amounts of company files or move files externally, right? So our automation now takes over those critical first tasks, the ones that cut the access. Once an offboarding ticket is filed in Atomicwork, basically just IT, it will send an approval to IT approvers, and once approved, the automation just executes about 13 of those steps, the ones that are necessary, the first 15 minutes, right? So no logging into multiple systems anymore, no delay. And the best part is it frees the help desk from having to drop everything during offboarding. Because technically that's what's happening right now. When you're on offboarding process, you drop the person doing it, drops everything that he did. He just needs to execute those tasks. And
Right.
what if you're offboarding more than one person? Right? So that's let's say 2 hours already of your time for the day for two
Right.
people. Yep.
Right.
So
So
basically, the work is done, and you can just we can reclaim those 30 minutes, 1 hour because of this automation.
that's a very excellent example, because you're talking both about, from a security standpoint, but also from helping your teams, like you said, get their time back, right? And I know that you said this is already in production, so if you could, show us how it's done, what these steps are.
Yep. I think it's a 30-minute video, but we'll just probably speed the rest of it. But let me just share my screen again.
You just yes, and maybe just show us parts that you think would be most impactful for someone who's trying to understand like how you.
Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So this is you can just see that this is our offboarding form. Technically, there's like 33 high-level steps in this process. 13 up now are the automated, the ones that I put there, right? Change the password, remove the user session, move from self-service password reset, right? Delete the account, remove the group memberships, those kind of things. But basically, this just gives you a sense of how many moving parts are involved when you're onboarding a person. Right now, in this one, I'm just showing you the Active Directory account of the test user. Again, it's Lex Luthor. Notice how we have description empty there, and then on the address we have the country filled in, organization, job title, all of those are filled in, including the manager, right? And then these are the security groups. I'm showing this to you because these are part of the things that the offboarding will need to remove.
Right.
And then from the Microsoft 365 admin side, as you can see, this user, there's no block sign in option yet, or I mean, it's still active. And then on the shared mailbox, it's a user mailbox.
Right.
Right. So now I'm just gonna jump in real quick on the offboarding process. So this is my account, technically trying to pull out the offboarding request.
So the way I understand it, this can be raised by anyone, right? So if HR is raising this as from their end, they can also, once they've offboarded an employee, raise the request, right?
Um, on the AMMEX side, not everyone. We've kind of limited this to
Oh,
managers only and
right.
HR. And that's the beauty about Atomicwork, because you can actually there's like a way to classify people if they're managers or departments, those kind of things. And then we are able to select which people or group can pull out this request.
Right. Yes.
So I'm just gonna speed things up here, but technically this is the offboarding process. You just have to fill in the details, right? And I know we had to fill in the names there, but yesterday I just asked the team to convert that into a people field.
Okay.
So when I was doing this demo, I said, actually, that's a good thing about doing this kind of demos is you actually go in and then be able to see like what are broken or what are the things that you can improve internally.
That's
Right?
really cool. I'm glad
Yep.
giving you an
Yeah.
opportunity to do that as well.
Yep. So I'm gonna speed this up. As soon as that ticket is filed, as you can see, you get the notification that the ticket has been received, and we will get back to you. Check. So on our side, the ticket gets received by our people operations. That's our HR, and once they approve that or made that in progress, that ticket gets we get a copy of that ticket in the IT side. So this is the IT side. Let me just speed things up here. I made a mistake, so I had to redo there. But technically, this is now the ticket on the IT side, right?
Right.
Now, our automation is based on once the ticket has been moved from in progress to that status of boarding, and then once it's approved, right? I'll click approve there. And that's really what kicks in the automations.
Right.
So let me speed things up. So here I click on the activities tab just to show everyone what's happening on the back end. And those are all of the workflow being done. That's the beauty about Atomicwork. We can actually see what are happening on that ticket. So that's just Atom executing all of the actions on the workflow. Right. Keep refreshing it just to make sure that it already finished the all of the steps that we did. Right.
Critical ones.
But
Yes.
but if I speed that up, I'll go here. As you can see now on the Active Directory, you see how the country is no longer there.
Right.
We remove it because we just have automations based on country. So that's something very, I think, just unique to AMMEX. As you can see, all of those are blank now, right? That's also important to us because we have automations based on departments, those kind of things. The group memberships are gone. You see, we have a custom description now that says delete this account. Technically 90 days. Yep. No group memberships anymore. And then the object gets moved into another OU. All of that fully automated, previously manual.
So cool. So that's with just the approval and it kicks off the workflow and you have all of these steps built in and
yep.
That's
13 steps. And here, so this is just me refreshing the page, but as you can see here, let me just speed things up. I keep refreshing it because it sometimes takes 3 to 5 minutes before those actions takes effect. That was just me waiting for it to take effect. But as you can see here, let me refresh that one. And then still nothing. Hold on. There's just one that I wanted to show you. I think it's this one. There we go. Sign in block.
There we okay.
That's the one that I was trying.
Got it. Yes. So this you're saying the user will no longer have access to any of these systems, will no longer have access to any of the data. So you've taken care of that. The remaining steps, even if it's done slowly, that's
from a user mailbox, we also converted this into a shared mailbox, right? The reason for that is just at least once it's a shared mailbox, we can now remove the licenses. This shared mailbox is still free at this point.
Okay.
So that's how it looks like on the front end. I can show you the back end, but do you have questions on that portion?
That's really cool. And I just want to say Lex Luthor seems to be having a very bad day, unfortunately. But that's very interesting. And it's really cool to see how you've automated almost a third of your offboarding process. And like you said, very important, like your emergency, unplanned offboarding situations, right? I do want to
Yep.
ask you, what are some other, you said you had almost over 25 use cases that you all had identified with that one audit, and you have 7 live. So
Mhm.
if you can tell us what are some other use cases that are, already live or like in the process of going live, and how you've actually automated those.
Before I get there, just want to make sure that I covered this. I'll get back to you in a minute.
Yes.
So this is how it looks like, the offboarding on the back end. As you can see, we have got the trigger, and then we have the approval. And then once the approval is met, and you start calling those webhook that we built on the back end. All right. It's technically, it goes back to that Azure tenant list that I showed you earlier, right? But it will just start calling, disable the, change the ID password, disable the account, remove group memberships, remove the departments. You can see it's a lot of steps that are chained together,
Right.
right? Until we get to the last one, which is converting the shared mailbox. And then after that, as you can see, it's an automatic notification that the user has been successfully offboarded, and then the tickets gets resolved.
Resolved.
And again,
Right.
all of that happening in 5 minutes, no human action needed other than an approval. And on the back end, as you can see, just starts calling all of some of these things.
Functions. Right. Yes. That's really cool to see. And it's a lot of extensive work that's gone into actually setting these up and making sure they run well.
Yep. And then again, the automations were actually, of course, we build the automations, right? But the key thing there is now we have a workflow, which is Atomicwork, that can trigger those automations. Because you don't really just wanna, you wanna, it's very important that you have a trigger, especially tied up to a ticketing system. Because let's say offboarding, those kind of things, you need to show, or granting access permissions, granting licenses. Sometimes that's very important to bank audits.
Mm-hmm.
They need to see like a proof that, hey, was there a ticket granting permission to this module, those kind of things. And we get audited by bank on regularly, yearly. Mm.
Right.
Mm.
Right.
Mm.
And yeah, so
Um,
it's, yeah. Sorry, were you about to say something, Reno?
no, sorry, interrupted you. I was about to answer your previous question.
Yeah, please go ahead. I was just going to say, so that it's so having, like I said earlier, Atomicwork is sort of the system of operational command, bringing all these pieces together. Even though your automations live in other platforms and other
Mm.
apps, is sort of the key piece here, right? But yes, please go ahead, and we'd love to see if what are these your other use cases where you've sort of built in these automations.
So I think you asked, so technically we have that 25. So the next step here is just really going through that list of 25. That's really the plan for the rest of the year,
Mhm.
right? I know I talk about offboarding being the most impactful one, but I think that's mostly IT. What I really think that the most impactful one would be, there's a request for automating getting packing slips, shipping labels. But
Mhm.
I think the challenge there is those documents, it's on our third-party warehouses, it's on their portal. So we're just kind of waiting for them to provide the API, or the webhooks that that Atomicwork can call.
Right,
Okay.
right.
I think, let me just show you 2 more demos. We can speed things up. Let me share my screen. All right. Can you see it?
Yes, I can.
Okay. All right. So this one is a demo of how we automated forwarding of mailbox.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I know that sounds silly, but we choose to automate this because even though it's not the most frequent request, but we still get a lot of them, especially from the sales,
Mm-hmm.
when someone is on PTO or out unexpectedly. So especially on our sales team, of course, someone has to manage those incoming emails, right? So if the sales rep forgets, or anyone forgets to set up the forwarding, that's when people file ticket, so IT can do it on their behalf, basically
Right.
forwarding the mailbox to another person.
Mm-hmm.
Again, same thing. It's a small task, 2 to 15 minutes, depending on whether you already have the right process or right consoles open, but it disrupts focus when you're doing something, right? So with the automation, the entire process is reduced to a single approval. Once approved, forwarding is enabled, and automatically the ticket closes. So here, as you can see, this mailbox here has no forwarding enabled. It's the same test account. See, email forwarding is empty.
Right.
Right. So if we go there, someone raise a ticket, I need help forwarding a mailbox, they'll get a match,
Right.
a mailbox forwarding request, and then they just have to fill that up, right? So this one, we have a field called forwarding user, right?
Mhm.
So Lex, and then the receiving user.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just me as part of the demo, and then click the create request. Same thing, those automations saying that the ticket has been received and the ticket has been sent to approval. And this is my MS Teams as the approver, right? I'll just click approve there. Once I confirm that, as you can see, the requesting user gets a notification immediately that the request has been completed. We will now mark this ticket as resolved.
Got it.
All of that happening in less than a minute, assuming
Mhm.
that the approval immediately was granted.
Right, right.
Right.
And notifications to both the user as well as so the person who raised the
Mm.
request as well as the approver. All of this is happening in Teams, right?
Yep, all of this happening in Teams, and what it looks like on the back end. So here I was just showing the Atomicwork calling all of those webhooks on the activity tab, right? And then as soon as that takes effect, as you can see here, I go back to the mailbox and then click the email forwarding, and there you go.
There we
All of the
right.
emails are now forwarded to me.
Yes. Like you
Okay.
said, just 2 minutes. So okay, and so this is you seeing it in action, right? Seeing the email actually.
Yep. The last one on my demo would be just the automating the job title manager and department change. So same thing here, showing you that our favorite test user, this is his current job title, Azure admin, department, and then the manager,
Mm-hmm.
that's me, right? And then here again, someone will say, I need to update a user information, right? And then it pulls up the service ticket, that one there. And then you just have to fill in the details.
Mm-hmm.
And here are the details. We have some instructions to the user, right? But let's just assume that we want to change all three of them. So you just have to select the employee, right? The new department of the employee, that's a drop-down field. The new manager, same thing, it's a drop-down field. And then the new job title. On the job title, I think we just set to AP accountant and then effectivity date. Effectivity date is just a way for the approver to know when to approve that request. Because again,
Right,
that's
right.
fully automated. And then same thing happening, right? The ticket filer will get notifications that the ticket has been received. It has been sent to for approval, right? And then me on the back end will approve the request. Again, I don't even need to log in because all of the details I can see directly from my phone,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or just from my Teams. And then click that approve. And then there we go. The ticket gets closed immediately. And the user has been notified that this was completed. Okay. On the back end, not on the back end, on the front end, this is now how it looks like.
Right.
There you go. AP accountant, finance, and a new manager.
Yes. It's really cool. So I think the key thing here, and you've mentioned this before, is that, one, it doesn't take too much of time on the service team side, but also reducing the context switching for them, right? Them not having to log into multiple apps and actually do all of this. It's just a single approval direct.
I mean, Ria, I might be downplaying the level of effort on our side. Again, 2 to 15 minutes. Again, at the end of the day, AMMEX is just 180 employees. But imagine if you're, let's say, a BPO with
Mm-hmm.
2,000 employees, right? That maybe you get, 30 update information changes in a day. 30 maybe you will have more help desk, but let's just that 30 tickets times 5 minutes.
Right.
That's a lot of minutes.
Yes, that is.
Hmm.
And I think, yeah, I think that's the difficult part, right? When you're always thinking about this, you think about it in like your team or maybe like a small company. But what we don't realize is even if it's, and you're thinking, okay, maybe I only have to reach out to IT, say 4 or 5 times a year. But then if you think of that as across the company, sort of the amount of time that, it, the service team would be spending on these kind of requests if it's coming from like each employee, like 2,000 employees, 5 times a year is nearly 10,000 queries,
Yep.
right? Like you said, that's a lot of time. So
Mm.
we're actually we are sort of like running a little late, I think. But
Yeah.
before I want to move into the Q&A soon because we've got a couple of questions. But before I do that, I do want to ask you, if you can tell us a little bit about what has changed since these automations were implemented. Like, what kind of like have you seen any evident sort of time saved or reduced workload impact for your teams? Um, Anything
Yep.
measurable?
Of course. I mean, on the tickets that were automated, you can immediately see the resolution time, right? It's very fast. And then again, gets resolved immediately, gets closed immediately, and then the no human action portion of it, right? For the offboarding, after we automated that, actually we had at least two offboarding happening on the same day, 30 minutes apart, right? So immediately tested that, and it was like the help desk team was like, "Wow, this is a big relief from our side." Right? And then the good thing is, as you create this list of things to automate, it's not just IT, right? You talk to other departments, and actually they get an aha moment that, oh, really? That thing can be automated? Like I used
Mhm,
to spend half of my day doing that, right? So it
mhm.
gives them the idea that, oh, actually, let me talk to IT. Let me get a list of all of the things that I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. Let's see if they can automate it, right? So you're basically just giving that mindset. Because for
Right.
IT, sometimes those things are very obvious, but for non-IT folks, it's not
Mhm.
obvious to them.
Right.
Sometimes they will ask you, hey, can you improve my process? I need this automatically done, these steps 3 and 4. But when they talk to IT can say, oh, actually, we can automate steps 1 to 10.
Yeah.
Those kind of things, right? So again, those are the impacts that we're seeing so far when we are going through this list. Mm.
That's really cool. And it's nice to see, this is sort of you're starting with IT, but it's spreading to each of your other teams, and
Mm.
it's really just automating business across the org for you, right? That's
Yep.
really cool. So the one last thing I want to touch on before we move into the Q&A is if you have any, so far with all of this uh, automations you've done and sort of everything that you've built with Atomicwork. So do you have any tips for anyone who might be, sort of trying to improve their service management processes?
Um, there's a lot, but I mean, if you are already an Atomic Work customer or plan to be an Atomic Work customer, I suggest you just talk to them, give them your use cases. Again, I'm showing you earlier automations, but that automations, we built it ourselves. And I do understand that not everyone has that capability. Not everyone are proficient with Azure or proficient with automation. But talk to your Atomic Work representative and see if they can like add the things that you need as a skill,
Right, right, of course.
right? And that's
Yeah.
yeah, those kind of things. Second thing is technically Atomic Work is an AI tool, right? It's an AI backed ITSM system, but for AI things based on experience, right? And again, I got this from my boss, our CTO Chad, right? A lot of the things I have right now is I learned from him, but it's very important having AI champions on every department.
Hmm.
What do I mean by that? If you're pushing for any AI related, like let's say you're buying Copilot, Microsoft Copilot, or you're having Atomic Work, it's good to have an Atomic Work champion. Let's say from finance, Atomic Work champion from HR, because what it does, instead of if it's only IT pushing for hey use Atomic Work, hey think of things that you can automate, the message normally is just hey this is just another task for us, this is just a burden, this is another just a checklist, right? You don't really get the passion, right? But if you have except from an executive level assigning let's say an executive level from other department saying that, hey, you're going to be the AI champion on our group, then that's now become a mission on their side to
Mm-hmm.
push for automations for AI initiatives. And in
Mm-hmm.
the case of Atomicwork, that will at least push them to think of like what are the things that we normally get pinged for. Let me create a documentation for it. Like how do I reduce this ticket resolution from 15 minutes to 5 minutes? Those kind of things. So
Right. Right.
technically, you're removing the responsibility from just IT. It's
Mm-hmm.
like spreading the responsibility across every department.
I think that's an
Mhm.
excellent like tip that you've given, that AI champions in every team, and especially in this sort of in our current tech landscape, where I'm sure every company is, like you said at the beginning of this talk, everyone's like trying to get into that sort of AI
Yep.
the AI rush, right? And I'm sure there are a lot of teams in different places and being pushed to implement AI in different ways, and it might not just be atomic work, right? You have so many tools out there right now. But yeah,
Yep.
this is a great for all of those situations, right? Having an AI champion in your team means you have someone, like it's easier, like you said, for IT to push, and that's great. And that, I think that's a wonderful note to sort of end our conversation on. And we'll open this up for Q&A. We're already sort of not running late, but we have some more time. And we have two questions, and I think both these are very interesting. So the first one is about security, and the question is, how do you ensure security and compliance in your automated workflows? I think you briefly mentioned this, but if you can sort of expand on
Uh,
this.
yeah. So we look at security and compliance, two sides of the same coin when it comes to automation. So for compliance, we make sure to involve the business owners in the design. And a very good example just happened yesterday, right? So yesterday we met with our finance and our sales team about an automation to remove parent ID from an account in our ERP. We were about to launch the automation. We finished it yesterday. IT's initial design required two approvals, one from finance and then one from sales. But after talking to them, they confirmed that you only need one approval. It's only finance, right? So, but basically, this is involving the business partners
Mhm.
on the automation or on the process, on the design of the process. And actually, interestingly, after that talk, so again, we were automating removing a parent ID in our ERP. And
Right.
interesting, they also mentioned that actually it's the adding of a parent ID that's a more common request. So if you can
Ah,
automate that, like they were just saying, that will remove a lot of manual work on our side. So that was a very good conversation yesterday we had. And that's another list added to our bucket. So that we have 26 now.
26 now.
So for security, we use a combination of Boomi and Azure technically for our webhooks, right? So
Mhm.
ideally, we'd layer in API management for even tighter control, but that is a little bit costly right now. So for now, we're just making sure that we rotate those function keys regularly and applying the least privileges. But really, the most impactful one would be, I think, I already made this request to Atomic Work. I'm just waiting for the feedback, but it's asking for the source IP where the
Uh-huh.
request will be coming from. Because once
Okay.
Atomic Work provides that, in that way, I can just go to the function apps that we have and then just saying that, hey, only get traffic from Atomic Works IP. Everything else,
Right.
deny it.
Right.
Yep. And again, there's a lot of other security controls, but that's really what we have right now uh,
Right.
on a higher level.
Got it. Thank you for that. And the next question is from Paul Branwald, and he says, I think he's talking about when you were talking about, how a lot of this is like right within Teams for both the users and for the people approving, right? And he says, really like it's directly in Teams. How complex is that to set up, and what about other UC platforms? So I can take this question, but I would like to. I think, and I will provide some detail about it. But I do want to ask you. So how when you set up Atomic Work, right? And I'm talking solely from the side of like just integrating with Teams. Was that a complex setup for you? Like I'm sure, like the other parts of it, like the automations and the request management, those parts would have taken some time. But this,
Oh, it was very easy. Again, we were talking about 2 years ago, but I remember it being easy, right? You go to the portal, you add in your tenant, accept the permissions, and then that's it. You'll get an Atomic Work app in MS Teams directly. Right. So again, it's an app being added to to your MS Teams. So you click on Atomicwork app, and you can just see everything of that.
Right.
And I
Right.
think you can answer the other questions, but I think it was the other options that you have are Slack, and I think there's a web version as well.
Yeah.
So
So
anyway, yeah.
yes, just to add to your answer and to sort of expand on that question, yes. So like Rinno mentioned, it's a direct integration with right now we have one with Teams and Slack from within the Atomic Work tenant. So it's almost a one-click. You just connect. You ensure that all the permissions have been given, and then you have sort of Atom showing up within Teams or within Slack. In both Teams and Slack, this will be a slightly extended process where if you want to customize Atom, you know, to reflect your branding, that will take a few more steps. But it's really just a very, very simple platform. Like Rico mentioned, we now also have um, Atom on Chrome browsers as an extension, where it is providing real-time support through voice and vision, and we're now starting to see some that being sort of we're seeing adoption for that from across our customers, but that is where we're headed, and that's the big bet that we're making. So I think those are the questions from our audience, but I did have one other question that I wanted to, which I was just thinking of while you were answering. Um, so how do you keep, so when a lot of this is sort of automated, and I know that this is IT, but even for IT, when it comes to like employee support, how do you keep it personalized at scale? Like I know you said you're a small shop, so it's probably a little easier, but when you're automating a lot of these things, and how do you sort of make sure that there's that personal touch to it?
Hmm. That was actually the my easy answer. We're a small shop, right? It's much easier on our scale,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I think automating for it to be really personalized, right? The automation part on the design, you need to involve the business partners. Explain to them why you are automating these things, and then involve them on the processes that which ones can be automated,
Mm-hmm.
right? But basically, don't um, you need to involve the business partners. In that way, they can be part of the design as early as possible.
Right.
Okay. That way, when you launch an automation, it's technically like you built it with them. It's something that will really impact their work. Sometimes IT will build things without involving business partners, and they will build something that people will not use
Right.
because you miss an important or a critical process,
Right. Right.
right? And again, the other part is we just kind of automate repeatable uh, tasks, the
Mm-hmm.
ones that you don't that you won't really learn from by doing repeatedly, right? Let's say you get 100 adding a shared mailbox to a user, right? No matter how many times you do it, that's just like a repetitive task. So you won't really learn anything from it. Maybe
Right.
you'll get faster doing it, but it doesn't add value to you.
Mm.
So those are the ones that we kind of the automate,
Right.
right?
Right.
But
That's a
I think that's it for automation. It's really like making sure that the people are aware why you're automating it, right? And what's in it for them.
right. For that answer, that's an excellent answer. We have one more question. So this is from Ida, and she's asking, how frequently do you audit existing processes to see what all can be automated? And what does that process look like? Is it always looking at your list of tickets? Or
um, that's a very good question. So I can think when we did our review, that was April, and that's already 2,000 tickets. So I imagine there's gonna be another 2,000 now.
Mhm.
But for now, again, for our side, made it a mission that we will be reviewing at least twice a year.
Okay.
Again, we just finished the first one, and we're still not done with the 25 use cases, right? So we'll probably have another review at the end of the year. But again, even for us, we're struggling, right? I'll be honest with you, we're struggling because right now, people are still adapting to AI. We just recently installed the concept of AI champions. So now the problem, really, the bottleneck is IT. We're only the ones reviewing. But imagine if you have other departments reviewing their own tickets, making those initiatives, then it's a much easier work. Instead of us reviewing 2,000, then like each department reviewing 300 of their own tickets. And that could happen on a weekly basis. That could happen on a monthly basis.
That's
Was
really
there
cool.
another question there? Yeah.
No, so
Sorry, was there
that
another question? Okay.
it was just, what does your current process look like? I like that you're thinking about this, sort of futuristic. With the AI champions, that work is going to get spread out. So be automating faster and get more people involved. And yes, so that's great. Yeah, I think those are all the questions we've had so far. And I think we're just about making good time here. Just a little over, but that's all right. And again, I want to thank you so much for joining us and talking to us about your automations and actually showing us how you've done all of this. I think it really makes a difference when you can see practically, how someone's implemented something rather than just hear that, oh yeah, you can automate these use cases, and sure, but where can I see that? Right. So, and again, thank you for taking time out of your schedule. And I know this is just the start of your workday, but I also know it's very late. But yeah, so this 1 hour, thank you again. Yes, I hope to do this, have more conversations like this with you in the future.
Yep, you're welcome. All good. Anytime.
Take care, have a good day.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Ria. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.